and welcome to another new episode of the Wicked Weekend podcast. It's been a minute since we were last here, so thanks for joining us today. My name is Michael. I'm the one of the co-founders here at Wicked Publishing. I'm joined by two of our creators today. We got Michael Nunnally and Matt Trin. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how's it
Hey
going?
guys,
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Enjoying my Saturday. How about you guys?
same.
Pretty
too,
good,
not
pretty
bad.
good. Being productive.
Very nice, very nice. Anything in particular work you guys are working on this weekend? Any projects or anything like that, or
Starting to move
I'm
forward with the Mechanic Chronicles fulfillment.
nice? That's gonna be fun.
I'm I'm currently it's the National Novel Writing Month,
Mm,
and so I've been working on my Christmas story for a few weeks now.
very nice, man. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I know we talked a little bit about that, but that's you're kind of like trying to redefine the mythology. It kind of makes sense since you do the Omenverse stuff. So I can see where your interests lie there. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I can't seem to get away from my love of mythology. It's just in there.
That's pretty funny. Hey, I get it. I know a lot of people, feel that way, and it's very interesting stuff. So it's fun to play around with that kind of topic.
Yeah, my loves just kind of go into my writing. I mean, like I didn't actually start out writing Omen comics intending them to have this big horror element, but that's
Hmm.
just what comes out of me because I love horror so much, and it's all involved in mythology because that's a big love of mine. I just kind of throw myself into it, I guess.
That's very cool. Do you have any idea when you might be ready to release that, or do you have a ways to go on it?
Oh, I got a ways to go on it
Okay.
yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
imagine you add in the editing process and everything, we got a good couple of years before that's ready to
Mm,
go.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. I need to do one final. I had a friend proofread my first novel. He put notes on it, so I got to go through and edit. And go through all that notes and stuff.
Well, I'm kind of curious. What can you tell me a little bit about your first novel?
Sure. Yeah. It's either gonna be a two book or maybe a trilogy if I get around to writing a third one eventually as well. But it's called Singularity Madness, and it's kind of got um, takes place in 2070 around there around that year. No relation to cyberpunk. Uh, but it's like essentially kind of like a global. The first volume is called Isolation, and so it's kind of like a bunch of characters all around the globe uh, whose stories will eventually kind of collide in the second novel. And
Okay.
so if I could describe, actually, why don't I just read the back of the book? I'm like, how do I describe this novel to you? But what's interesting while I'm pulling that up is I got to work with a really cool artist named Michael Tony, and he did 13 illustrations for my book. So there's like throughout the book I have like anime style illustrations.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
kind of like a light novel in that way. I wanted it to be like the Japanese style light novel where you sometimes get pictures throughout. And so
Are the illustrations like chapter head illustrations or
not really. At first, I thought about doing that, but and then I decided they're like some of my favorite moments, some of the most exciting or dramatic moments in the book get punctuated with an art piece.
okay, like how they did how you can get that version of the Divine Comedy with the art
Yeah,
all
something like that exactly. Or
that.
like they did that with Da Vinci Code, I think too, something
Oh,
similar to that.
okay. Okay.
Um, Speaking of Da Vinci Code, I do kind of take some inspiration there from Dan Brown a little bit. I try to dive into the history of both our real world and then of the fictional world that I created, and then kind of explore what a future world might be like. So it's kind of speculative fiction, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well,
It-
that
it's
that's what most science fiction is, isn't it?
true, true. Well, there's some that I feel like some broaches the gap of science fiction fantasy or science fantasy, if you will, where
Ah,
it becomes so where there's things that just couldn't exist or it becomes more fantastical or magical elements might be introduced, like Dune having the voice or whatever it's called. That's a little bit of a fantasy element. Whereas
totally.
in speculative, like something where mine is more speculative, it's like trying to really decide, think about what will the world really be like in 50 years, for example, and kind of extrapolating from there and stuff. So like
Okay.
people like Warren Ellis, I turn to like he does a lot of that kind of stuff.
Big
But
fan of Warren Ellis.
yeah, he's great, man. He's great.
Too bad he's no longer getting jobs.
Yeah, poor guy. But I also buy his books. You know, like he wrote. I mean, come on, he wrote Transmetropolitan. Like that's one of the greatest, like cyberpunk transhumanist kind of comic books out there. It's crazy. But yeah, here's why it says set in year 2075. This near future speculative light novel takes a look at how technology can affect the world both positively and negatively. What kind of societies will these new technologies lead to? Follow characters from around the world and discover their interweaving stories from the United States to Russia, from China to Mexico and beyond. Discover a world ravaged by war, plagued by terrorist threats, and on the brink of anarchy. This is singularity madness.
I hmm. I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you could answer it without spoiling something. Now the singularity is different depending on who you talk to. Some people refer to it scientifically like a black hole.
Oh yeah.
Some people refer to it as the transfer of consciousness to AI.
That's what I'm going for. That
or machine, something along like that. What is singularity and singularity madness?
You're exactly right, man. It's exactly right there. You hit the nail on the head. It's that kind of the idea of technology becoming to the point of creating AI, and then what is the next step after that, and what kind of hinting at the back, saying what kind of societies it will create. That's the ultimate. That's where the trilogy is leading, is towards
Nice.
singularity, and what will that mean for society.
That sounds pretty awesome, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really kind of got inspired like by Ghost in the Shell and like a bunch of other kind of sci-fi animes like that, and just came up with this story that I wanted to tell, and just started writing it. And just came out. And, so yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I really like some of the stuff, and there's some pretty exciting moments and some interesting twists. So yeah, I like it a lot. But we'll see. It's been a while to get it out. Like I said, it like you said, it takes a long time to get these things written, edited, and into the right place. It's not necessarily as quick as doing a comic, you know.
Right. My writing professor in college told me I came to her and I said I don't think I'm any good at this. I keep having to rewrite what I'm writing because but every version I read, I go back and read it. I think it sucks and I need to fix it. and she pointed out that that's actually a good thing, and that's actually a sign of a good writer. That
True.
that the more you think it through, the more you improve it. The more you're going over it, the better it will be for everyone.
100% agree. Yeah, I think that's a very smart way to do it. Yeah, you always got to go over it again because you never know what you might have missed the first time, or you didn't think about stuff the first time, maybe. You know. So yeah, I agree 100%. Like that can save you a lot of trouble. Always edit.
Yeah, I think another key part has got to be you got to have other people that are willing to read your work, like before you put it out. And I like personally for me, like I'll find if I've written through something, sometimes things are happening in my head that while it seems weird to do this, like they'll have taken place in my head, and so I forget to put them on the page. Does that make sense? Like when I'm writing a comic out and stuff, and I'll be like, okay, so this transitions from here just like this, and in my head when I read it, I automatically see that happening, even though it doesn't actually take place on the page because it's going on in my head. And you got to have that other reader for that.
Yeah, sometimes they catch those things that you would miss because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, man. But yeah, how about you, Matt? Do you have an editor?
Not really.
You're your own. You do your editing yourself then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's fair. That's how I've done with my comics. For the most part, I was editing myself. For the novel, I didn't trust myself because of the size of it. You know what I mean? Oh, and it was my first novel too. I was like, I need another pair of eyes on this.
Of course.
But for comics, I don't know. For some reason, I although I wish I had honestly at some points had people read it. Like in Barrels 1, I didn't catch. I called it the FBI, and then I later learned, or either relearned, or remembered, or something, that the FBI wasn't originally called the FBI. They were called the Bureau of Investigation. And so I was like, at the time of the comic, they wouldn't be calling themselves the FBI. I was like, okay. So in the newest edition, that's fixed. I went back and fixed that and a few other things. But it's like that would have been caught by an editor or something, or a second pair of eyes.
Right? I had to go through that with my Seder comic.
Mm.
It takes place in what will become Sweden, but at the time I'm telling that story, there was no Sweden. So my editor totally caught that. They're like, they
That's
weren't even
awesome.
a country back then. Oh crap!
That's great. That's when it works out well for everybody in that kind of a situation. Yeah. Yeah. You guys been writing any new comic scripts?
I have been working a bit on Gallowsman #4.
Nice, dude. Plugging away.
Yeah, I'm a good I'm gonna say 6 or 7 comics ahead of publishing schedule.
Damn. You got me beat. I have on Endemic. I think I'm 3, not even 3, because the 3 I have 3 issues, but they're really not even complete. They're like various stages of needing work. I think some need to be lettered, others need to be colored. So that's probably not fair to say. Huh?
Well, it may seem like I'm a workaholic there. Part of it actually has to do with making it easier to tell the story. When I have all that stuff already established, I don't have to go in and explain that stuff. Or you know what I mean? Like it's easier once I'm knee deep in it. It's easier to get going again.
No, I feel that. Yeah. For me, it's I'm a little opposite. I usually just go in bursts. Like I'll just write for a while and get it done, and then I'll just not. And then between writing sessions, I just like think about stuff and I intake new media and I listen to new podcasts. I'll read new things and try to take it all. And then I'll sit down. I'll put on something and bam, another session of writing. And that's kind of like my method. But I know it doesn't work for everybody.
Totally. I think reading is a definitely a key part of being able to write well.
Totally, yeah, I 100% agree. Like, and not just reading the things that you like, but really trying every now and then going out of your comfort zone and trying something you wouldn't have read before.
Totally.
Even if it's just a little bit of it, right? Like, if it's something you wouldn't necessarily pick up, you could even just read a chapter, right? But it's good to get new influences.
Also read bad things too.
What's
Some
that?
of the things. Also read bad things, because what works in a good story isn't as obvious as what doesn't work in a bad story.
That's interesting. I never thought about that, man. That's really interesting idea. I think I tend to go towards bad movies with that, but you're right. That's a good philosophy.
We all know why. We all know why Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey won't work in our stories. And those are reasons why you should avoid them. Those are
very true. Yeah. Oh yeah, that is very very true. Looks like we got Neostar in the chat here. He's telling us what he's been working on. Looks like he says sadly hasn't been as productive as I had hoped, but with any luck, I'll have my first Riser Man script completed by tonight. Very nice, man. That's what's
I
up.
hope so too. Can't wait
Yeah, that'd
to
be
see
awesome,
it.
dude. He said he's trying to have at least 3 scripts complete before January. And I made at least 2 major declarations that 2022 will be the year of pension hero Riser Man. That's awesome, dude. That would be really good.
That'll be great.
Yeah, I would love to see that. That would be really cool. I know you've been working hard on that as well for a while, and you've put all your work into it and coming up with art and concepts. And so yeah, it'll be cool to see the first script and see how that turns out.
You know, a whole lot of people talk about things they'd like to do and things they want to do. I'm really impressed by those who actually dig in and do it. That's some impressive stuff. So, I mean, way to go, Neostar. That's pretty cool.
Very true, man. Yeah, that's commendable there. So that's gonna be good to see. And speaking of which, Matt, maybe do you want to talk a little bit about your fulfillment? And because I know you mentioned earlier we're getting close to fulfillment. Where are we at with that? Anything you can tell us right now?
Right now, I'm spending the weekend going over lettering, making sure that there's no spelling mistakes and dialogue flows. Dialogue actually makes sense.
That's always important. Yes.
Also, I found out that Clip Studio Paint, Clip Paint Studio has this material where it can automatically center dialogue in the balloon.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty nice,
That'd
man.
be handy.
Yeah, really.
So I've been replacing my old ones with the new ones.
That's cool, dude. I'll definitely have to use that on when I letter project art, because that would have saved my time, a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, I wish I knew about at the beginning.
Yeah, really. Yeah, ever since Project R, I've always worked with a letterer, but I think I'm not sure. I might go back to lettering Project R myself. I'm not sure.
Yeah, picking up another part of the comic production helps smooth things out. And if there's a delay on lettering, and you've got someone else lettering for you, it'll make it go by faster.
Yeah, both there are definitely merits to it, and it's it's my preferred method. If I had the funds for it, I always go for it because it is nice to just leave that work to someone else. To be honest.
Yeah. Although it's also very hard to find a letterer who you can trust sometimes because there's gonna be some letters that are gonna be really bad, and they've got their name on comics, like published comics, kind of thing.
Yeah, I got really lucky by finding the letter that I work with. I think I ran him into on Twitter somewhere, but he just goes by the moniker Crank with an exclamation point at the end. But he's done work for who publishes Rick and Morty comics? Is that Dark Horse maybe? I want to say Dark. No, oh no, it's like not Dark Horse. It's like Omni or something. Yeah, I think it's Oni comics. Somewhere. Anyway, but she's done work with like the, Rick and Morty stuff. I really like his. He has good rates, so I recommend if you want to check him out at C Crank on Twitter. People out there looking for letters. He does good work, reasonable rates, and quick turnaround. Really quick turnaround.
Yeah, I definitely have to recommend that you find someone that is invested in your work rather than they're in it for the money.
Fair enough. Yeah, I could see that.
I got to give a shout out to my letterer here,
Nice.
Guido Martinez.
Nice.
That guy, in my personal opinion, I have seen stuff from Marvel and DC that isn't done as well as his work. How's that?
Well, to be fair, they're kind of slipping on the quality these days.
Shall we talk about why? Why? I think we all know, and it rhymes with PU, or should I say MPU? No,
well, thing is, the big thing that I find ridiculous about DC and Marvel is when they go into the whole climate change topic, and all these characters live in this universe where they're in contact with alien races. You have weather control devices. You can't tell me that nobody ever thought about the idea of, hey, let's get advanced alien tech to replace our crappy tech. And you've got a guy with a genius intellect to be able to make suits of armor with modern day technology. Are you serious?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because it's kind of. I feel like there's a problem. There's a problem with superhero comics in general that they've been around for so long that it's like hard to innovate at this point, and especially like there's the pull, the struggle, the pull, push and pull between the legacy and then creating something new, and there's always that push and that pull and it's that tension, right? Like how do you balance that? I feel like it's really hard to do that, to be honest.
And I've been mocking the whole rumor that Superman's going to die.
Oh
Oh
no!
no, Superman is going to die for
Again?
100th time.
They just can't stop killing and bring this guy back to life, can they?
It's kind of
Poor
like
guy.
when you watch the Transformers series and Optimus Prime dies.
Yeah, you know it's not real.
It's not gonna
Actually, I mean, I hate to be a stickler here, but when Optimus Prime died in the Transformers movie, he was dead in the
That's the
series too.
movie. That's the thing. I feel
Yeah.
like the movies are doing it so much better because I've talked about this before, but movies have a finite ending.
No, actually,
because they can't go on forever, right? They cannot go on.
Well, here's the thing about the movie. The movie was meant to introduce a new toy line.
Well,
Right.
yeah, but regardless of that, what I mean is the reason I think that movies have an inherent advantage over the comics is because actors can't live forever and movie budgets can't go on forever. So like they have to make an ending, and everyone knows that a good story has a good ending. So it's like I feel like there's already an inherent advantage, like where the comics they're struggling to put endings in because people want the characters around, and no one can blame them for wanting them around. But it just means that it's really hard to make a satisfying.
Yeah, and I'm also going to point out that near the end of the original Transformers series, they did have the return of Optimus Prime storyline.
That could totally be true. I quit watching it after I realized Optimus Prime was actually dead.
Yeah,
I was like, you know what? This series sucks now.
He came back from the dead.
Of course.
They realized that they made a big mistake.
It's the whole Jesus motif, right? I guess.
Right. That just for the record though, there have been several messianic type figures throughout several belief systems that people kind of want to tag Jesus with just that, but like there have been before him, there were other gods like other Greek gods and stuff that died and came back from the dead and saved people and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like what they say in the Wheel of Time that when the myths become legend, and even the legends that spawn those myths become forgotten. That was a good episode. I liked it actually.
What did I jump in?
We're talking about stuff. No, what are we talking about, guys?
I heard Wheel of Time and comic book characters and movies.
Oh, Iron Man. Oh, MCU, like how the how superhero comics struggle because they've been going around for a while and there's no end and whatnot. And
yeah, and I think that's a big difference between like manga and then Western comics. Is manga will wrap up the story and move on to the next thing, and Western is like we're still running the same superheroes from 1960. And even later, like Superman was what 20s, so that's like 100 years.
That was Superman was 1938.
There you go. All right, so we're not quite 100 years yet.
Batman was probably more closer to 100, right?
Batman came along in what was it, 1940?
Really? Oh wow! I didn't know he was that late. Oh wow. Who was?
Well, it was the Superman craze had to build and get all crazy before they're like, hey, we need more of these.
So were there no superheroes in like the 20s, for example?
No, there were. They weren't the typical superhero. They were pulp heroes like the Shadow and Green Hornet, stuff like that. They were more the hardcore street vigilantes as opposed to superheroes that actually
not comics, like little pulp novels, right?
Yeah, it's like pulp the pulp magazines and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, 39 was the first appearance of Batman.
39. I was off by a year.
I managed to pick up some novels that inspired the Green Lantern Corps.
Really?
Yeah, Lensman.
Lensman?
Yep.
Lensman series. Here it is.
I'm curious. Tell me about Lensman.
Basically, it's about a galactic police force that used a type of lens to help them patrol the galaxy, keep the Order.
No, damn.
And at the head of the film is an ancient alien. Basically, he had two ancient aliens that were going to war against one another. And on one side, they created the Galactic Patrol. The other,
Dude,
your chaos.
I was wondering, do you think Dragon Ball Super is inspired by that at all?
More than likely, because while in America, Lensman has never had an adaptation, Japan did an anime series.
Ah, interesting.
Back when they were doing stuff like Starship Troopers anime.
What do you mean they use the lens? Is it like for light constructs or a light weapon in some fashion?
I haven't.
Looks like the ship, maybe.
Or maybe it's what they use to detect evil in the galaxy.
Basically, the whole first book is one giant history lesson. So,
sounds like Dune.
Kind of. But it's been inspired. It inspired Green Lantern series. So.
Oh, so it's here. Well, I don't want to spoil. Can I spoil? It's not. I hope it's not a spoil here. If I can give this away here, Matt.
Hey, Neo, start.
But it says title object. It says the title object, the lens of civilization, is an empathic weapon that initially grants its users psychic powers with varying in strength.
Okay.
So does that sound familiar?
Yes. Do they have some sort of lens me up type slogan? Lens me up.
I guess in my mind it paints the, you know how like you can use like a magnifying glass to like focus light into a point.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in my head I picture that if we're using a lens to amplify psychic powers, that perhaps maybe that's what it is, that it the lens focuses their abilities, it strengthens them that way.
Is that I'm not sure, but is that right there, Matt? Do you know?
What?
He's still in the history lesson.
He's still in the history lesson. Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Sorry, also, I have to try to figure things out.
It says here the actual word lensman means a professional photographer or cameraman. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But.
So what you're saying is that's the inspiration for Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. He's a lensman. Spider-Man, lensman. There's a connection. Well, that's interesting. I want to get into some more sci-fi. My friend Zach recommended me this series called We Are Bob. Anybody hear about this one?
No.
This is pretty good. It's like a mixture of it's kind of like a little bit like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but a little more grounded, taking itself a little more seriously.
Huh.
But it's part of the Bobaverse.
Bobaverse.
Oh, man. But Scott, how are you doing, man? I haven't had a chance to ask how you're doing. How's your weekend going?
It's not too bad. You know, like it was a rough week, but next week is a short one work-wise. Nice. So
got Thanksgiving.
Looking forward to that. Maybe maybe I won't completely slack off on the 4-day weekend and get some writing done.
Either way, it should be good. You know, if you end up slacking off, that's all right too.
Yeah, you know, like campaigning's a little bit tiresome. Wears you down a bit.
How many days do you have left on the campaign, by the way?
9 days left. And I'm kind of in that plateau phase.
Yeah.
For those of you who've never run a campaign, your campaign kind of hits this point where it just flatlines for a bit, and you're not getting any backers, but it usually kicks back up. So just posting, you know, doing some streams, stuff like that, nice. And hopefully we'll bring it back to life at the end and get some more backers.
That'd be nice. Get some of those stretch goals going.
Oh, we really need that Jack Irons print.
That is such a good one, you know.
Yeah, I really like how that came out. And to get that printed and in people's hands, that'll be really cool.
Got that link up on the screen there for y'all, and in the chat as well. So yeah, go check that out. A lot of cool stuff on there. A lot of cool perks. But yeah, that should be exciting. So we got yours getting close to wrapping up. We got Matt entering the fulfillment phase. Cody's launching sometime next year.
Yeah, and then we'll have 4 sometime next year, depending on how we do on these stretch goals. We'll determine how quickly we get that going.
Look at this. We got a Alabaster in the chat. Hola.
Nice.
What's up? How's it going? Que pasa? As the kids say.
Hey, what's going on, Alabaster?
But that's good, man. That's good. I'm glad you're making progress on that front.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is we got that donation tier finally up there. So we'll get some books to some kids in the detention facilities out here.
Yay. That's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really interested to see the reaction and how well that goes.
Yeah, that'll be cool, huh?
But
I could tell you as someone who spent some time in a teen detention facility that they had like one comic in there and I read it like 50 times. So getting some comics in there would be awesome, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's part of the literacy program as well, because they kind of give them books, but this is a little bit, easier to grasp, and we're hoping that the artwork kind of encourages them to want to read it and kind of carrot on the stick there for them, so to speak, is one of the other goals.
Nice.
But if it goes well, then we can open it up for other stuff. Maybe other people might want to do it on their campaign. As long as they figure out. I mean, with Wikid, it's really easy because Wikid gets our books, so it's real simple for me to pick those up.
Would they want something like Barrels, do you think? Or is that too violent?
I'd have to go through it again.
Yeah.
But we don't know until we try.
I'd be worried about the violence, to be
honest. So
maybe I could create a teen version.
Yeah, if you want to, we'll get a copy over to.
That'd be kind of cool
for review and see if we can get it in there.
Okay, I'll think about that. That'd be interesting because I do really think it is a nice cause. So I do like the idea.
I don't know. Maybe there's maybe a couple of Omen comics that might be appropriate. I'm figuring you got to be at least 13 or 14 to read those, but we could definitely do Revelation Comics Blitz if that ends up going on. That would be cool. That's like an all ages title.
Nice. Yeah, it's good because I know. Let's see. Did we try to get something worked out with Jack Irons yet, or have we not really done anything there?
That's in the stack to review, and I've talked to Cody. We kind of put it behind Wrath because Wrath is a little bit more of a shoe-in. Where his has some stuff that we're not sure how they're going
questionable.
Yes, but I talked to Cody, and he's 100% in agreement with me on that.
That's great. Yeah.
I actually have a question I'd like to pose to the group here.
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally decide what age group your comics are appropriate for? I ask because I not all parents are going to be the same. I'm not even sure what an average would be, but I was watching horror movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 8. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I never know how to judge that as far as for what's appropriate for kids or not. How do you guys decide?
I don't know about
a pretty good grasp of it. The things you want to look for are language, nudity, violence against humans, graphic violence against humans. Because there's a big difference between he just brained this monster and he just blew a human's head off. There's a big difference when it comes to the grading of that. You got to look at violence against humans. Graphic violence such as very graphic. Organs falling out, brains flying out of someone's head. Iron sights would not be one that we could do. Unfortunately, rags is also not one we can do because of the nudity, unless we got some of those bunny edited copies.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know Diamond Distribution has their own rating system, and I think for the most part, I think anything with swearing. What was it? Swearing, a bunch of like swearing, and nudity goes into M, unless it becomes gratuitous and then it becomes like adult. But I kind of look at it like a movie, you know. For me personally, I kind of look at it like how the movies rate it and kind of base it off that. But yeah, I think Scott's right on the money with it, to be honest.
Well, I've noticed like DC Comics will swear. Not all the time, but they'll throw in, you know, a couple of cuss words per comic or so.
It depends on which words too. Like the F-bomb carries a lot more weight than, let's say, like damn and hell or you know, even like shit. So yeah, it looks there's different varying degrees in there. I get away with it a little bit because I bleep it out or hide it behind another word bubble.
And it's something I've noticed, and this is getting kind of based on TV that I take over to comics. But like, seems like you know, violence and gore is not as bad as nudity and sexual situations. So like something like nudity, and especially if it's in a sexual context, would be mature or adult, whereas a lot of violence can still be considered teen if it's done in the right way. So
right. It again, if you're just having blood, not too bad. But again, when you get like evisceration and yeah.
I'm thinking about that scene in Gallowsman #1 where Sarah Baton cuts that guy's throat open and gives him a
That's
Colombian
not tea, dude. That ain't tea.
Well, you can actually get away with, like, if he just cuts the throat.
No, she reaches in and pulls out his tongue and
Colombian necktie.
Colombian necktie, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty graphic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be graphic. But I mean, like, slitting someone's throat compared to like chopping someone's head off is a big difference too.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it's not bought. It's less visceral. Like, it's not as gory. So I think when there's violence, and then when you add gore onto it, the more gory you it, the more mature it becomes. Because like Marvel violence is great because there's like hardly any blood. There's no, you know, it's very kind of watered down for like a general audience a little bit, you know.
What's a good example is most of the Indiana Jones movies are PG. But Last Crusade is PG-13 because that guy gets decapitated.
Oh, interesting. And of course, rating system back then were a little more lax. I bet it would be like PG-13. And you think that would get an R today just for a head cut off, though?
No. In fact, if anything's changed, it's gotten a little bit more lax.
Oh, the other way.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I think decapitations are still going to get you a PG-13 at minimum.
I could see it.
Yeah. So that basically puts most of the books I'm going to be writing in the mature category.
Yep. That's exactly right. Flowing blood.
That's great. But a clean decapitation, PG-13. Yep, that's where we live in. Yep.
Actually, just
only can say one F word in a PG-13 movie, but as soon as you say the second one, you're getting an R.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a situation where I was at a signing, and this lady comes in and she's asking me. She's got a 10-year-old kid here.
Oh no!
And she's asking me what kind of comics maybe would be appropriate for him.
Yeah.
And I'm telling her, well, maybe White Druid and Michael Nero is kind of a PG-13, maybe PG kind of a deal. And so she picks that up and she leaves, and she comes back about 20 minutes later just pissed as hell. She's like, somebody said damn, and there was smoking and a demon in here. I want something else. And I'm like, I said PG. I don't know what you want me. I mean,
yeah. One time I had a woman who was like, her son was looking at barrels and he looked pretty excited about it, and she was like, "Oh, do you want this one?" I was like, that one's kind of more for adults. You might want to look at these ones over here. And well, thank you very much for that. So she seemed to appreciate that heads up there. So yeah, I could get you into some trouble.
Right? I don't know. I guess I didn't. Again, I can't use my childhood as a basis of comparison.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, you gotta use my childhood as a basis, because me versus Matt B, you know, my other co-founder, he's like you. He was watching all the like horror movies, all like Berserk and all this crazy stuff when he was young, and I wasn't allowed to have watch rated R movies or play rated games until I was close to 18. So, like in high school, maybe 17 or 16, like, but it was like middle school. No, 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 no. And so it was like my first M-rated game was Halo 3, I think, and on the Xbox 360, if you can believe it. So it's like I had a very sheltered life. So if you want to use my life, you're more than welcome to.
Would you say that was a good standard, Scott?
I'm sorry, I was looking at something. What was the question?
Is my life, my sheltered, overly sheltered childhood a good standard of what is appropriate, not?
No, I was pretty sheltered too, so that was
really?
pretty much not the standard. Most
that's
parents
funny.
are kind of like how Michael Nunley was raised, where it's just like, oh, you're 8, time for some Nightmare on Elm Street. Here you go.
Oh man, yeah. There's some upsides and downsides. I say the one upside that I appreciate is that as I'm older now, I can go back and appreciate a lot of stuff for the first time as an adult, and so I do like that, going to watch old movies like that I missed out on.
At the same time, have you gone back and watched some of the stuff you loved as a kid and realized just how shitty it really was?
No, I try to avoid that if I can.
Like, for instance, I loved, when I was a kid, I loved Super Friends. Okay?
Oh
That
gosh,
show clearly sucks.
I actually went back and tried to watch an episode of He-Man, and I was just like, oh gosh, this is what I look forward to every afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Another
back and
bad
watched
one was
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Voltron.
Voltron, really?
I can
Oh, God,
still
yeah.
kind of dig some Voltron. What I did recently, I went back and watched the original Japanese anime, which is called Go Lion,
Oh wow!
and I was actually like, this is pretty good.
It's called Go Lion?
Go Lion, yeah. I think it's
Oh my God.
on Hulu, maybe.
Did they do the thing? The thing I noticed rewatching Voltron was that they pretty much only had a set of about 10 or 12 scenes that they just recycled for every scene in the thing.
Yep.
Like every
Yeah.
episode was the same scenes over and over again. And
Wow.
then Go Lion wasn't like that, though, huh?
Not as much, but I mean, it's kind of along those lines like Speed Racer was, and that was just you save money
Of
on
the
animation.
time. You know what I mean? That's kind of just the times back then. Animation has
Totally.
come a long way since then, especially in Japan.
It might be on Crunchyroll.
Oh yeah, Crunchyroll has a lot of older stuff. Like they're pretty good about preserving older anime, which is nice. Gotta love
Neostar says
Crunchyroll.
he actually liked He-Man, or he didn't mind it, shall I say.
What's that? What was that, Michael?
I said
are you
Neostar
talking
there
about?
says
We're
he actually
talking
didn't
about.
mind He-Man.
Well, there's been so many iterations. We're talking about the original 1980s cartoon.
Yeah.
I was more of a Transformers Beast Wars kid, but you know.
Right, I'm an '80s kid, so I had
gotcha.
the Saturday morning cartoons full of stuff. That was the best part of the whole week.
Yeah, because I grew up in the '90s. My slew of shows is probably a little bit different than what you would remember or relate to.
Oh, you had way better cartoons in the '90s than the '80s.
I don't want to brag or anything, but all right, I'll take it.
Well, just to name a couple, that's the Fantastic Four series was pretty good. The Silver Surfer series was pretty good. Spider-Man, the X-Men. I mean, there was a whole bunch of really cool shows.
Or just Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
Oh, amen.
Well, all the stuff they're doing on
Amen.
Nickelodeon, and so there's a lot of good stuff on TV for sure. And even like introduction of anime. Like I remember in the '90s they started putting anime on like 4Kids and stuff. And I started to get introduced to like what anime was. Like I kind of knew what manga was. But I just thought that was comics. I didn't know there was a difference.
Well, so Neostar said he was talking.
Yeah,
he was talking about the original '80s He-Man. So yeah, that's cool. We just have a different lens that we see it through. Is probably why.
A lensman, if you will.
A lensman, yes. Enhance.
Funny thing is that series was never finished.
Which
Lensman. They
really?
Yeah, he died before. you could
Oh,
finish
that's too bad. So Brandon
That's always
Sanderson has another
unfortunate.
job to do, I guess. Better get him
Well-
on it. You know.
Well, he told Robert Heinlein about everything that was going to happen in the ending. Heinlein could have written the ending,
Oh,
but he didn't because it was his friend. It was his friend's story, so
he didn't
he
feel it
could do
right.
it. Nope.
That's what I'm waiting. I'm waiting with bated breath to see if they ever decide to continue Berserk or not. We'll see.
It's possible, but if it's anything, ignore the last chapter. His last full chapter was good enough for an ending.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm excited once they release that final volume. I'm waiting for that, but yeah, I'm at least glad to hear that because that's such a good series. Michael, you've probably never read that one, have you?
I have not gotten into that.
That's
No.
a good fantasy series. If you like fantasy, that's like a good dark
It's
fantasy.
dark
right there.
fantasy.
Yeah. Oh, dark is the key word.
Like, are we talking when we're talking fantasy? Are we talking about like Lord of the Rings, D&D kind of stuff, or are we talking about like just like a whole nother world with magic in it kind of?
I would say more like based on medieval. So it's like think of like how our medieval times were and what that might have been like, and some Dark Ages thrown in there as well.
Demons.
Yeah, demons. It's like that's where the fantasy really comes in. It's like a fantasy medieval world, I would say.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. And does it have to do with the mental state with which a warrior would get into?
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a lot of
that's like
trauma.
the key thesis of the whole thing.
There's a lot of trauma and nudity, sex.
Yeah, it's you have to be ready to be. It's super visceral, so you have to be prepared for it. Like, don't go in thinking this is a walk in the park.
Oh, if you got to know me by now. The gorier and bloodier it is, I want to see organs coming out. I want to see blood all over the place.
I mean,
Tear that shit up.
He's got a Colombian necktie in one of his
That's
comics.
true, man. That is true. He comes out for it.
There is a character that gets hollowed out.
Yeah,
nice.
You will love it. It is the most disgusting series I've ever seen in a good way.
Which one is this? Because I my ADD is bad today.
Berserk.
Oh, okay, yeah, Berserk. Yeah, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Did you guys see? You seen the Halloween 2018 or Halloween Kills?
I have not yet.
No, I didn't. I heard so many bad things. I was like, ah.
Oh,
Michael
love
liked
them.
it, right? Didn't you? Yeah, I thought you.
Yeah, I loved them.
Right?
I loved them. There's this guy, Michael. They don't show him actually doing it. You only get to see the after effects. But this guy totally jack-o'-lanterns. Michael totally jack-o'-lanterns this guy's head, and like just stick the flashlight up in there. It's got light coming out his eyes.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
It is pretty badass.
Tell me you have seen Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Oh yes, I love that series.
I think the part with the body and the book would be the only thing that would top the jack-o'-lantern. The guy. You know what I'm talking about?
The part with the body and the book. That's not very descriptive.
Okay, the intestines, grabs him around the neck, pulls him in.
Yes.
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 I don't want to spoil it for anyone who has not seen it.
But only one I've ever seen is the Evil Dead remake.
I think
that was actually pretty good. I actually liked the more I really love Ash. Don't get me wrong. I love that character. But I really liked the more serious take with the Evil Dead remake.
It's a pretty creepy movie. I thought it was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to do another one at some point, I think, right?
Yep.
I wonder, are they going to follow it up with like an Army of Darkness kind of thing? Or, I mean, because that was Army of Darkness was the thing after Evil Dead 2.
It's possible. I know that was the original plan, but it's been so many years. You know, could have changed, but I do think that was kind of the original plan.
Okay, Michael, Ash vs. Evil Dead is on Netflix, so go watch it.
Okay, I'll watch it after I finish watching Cowboy Bebop. I just killed the stream. Everybody stop listening. Oh God, sorry, I'm sorry. Why did I do that? Why did I freak it out?
I'm gonna have to say that the character Ed, I'm glad that they didn't have her that in it often because what I saw of her, there's a reason why you don't make. That's the reason why you make changes to certain characters, because Ed is one of those cartoonish characters that cannot be translated into live action because you just don't have the exaggerated features for facial expressions or our body movements.
Yeah, I wonder if they had just changed the hair color or done like a little low key on the hair, maybe that would have helped.
I think
No, I'm
not
talking about. No, what I'm talking
the
about
acting.
Ed, it was.
I've only seen the first episode so far, so I haven't seen any acting yet. Unfortunately, for that character.
Ed
I
is
saw
terrible.
a clip. It did not
Bode
seem
well.
great. It tries, and I give them props for like trying to
Trying
translate
to-
it.
Yeah.
It just
Maybe it shouldn't have been such a literal translation. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
it's just kind of like the actor. It just comes across as bad acting. Like is
That's
the
too
only way
bad.
to really
Well,
describe it.
I wonder if, I hate to say it, but a lot of times younger actors don't have as much experience, so that could also be
Actually,
part of it.
The way I describe it is they hired a weeb to play the character.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whereas I feel like Jet is like spot on. Like he nails
Jet?
that voice, dude.
Jet has been the only one that I've felt has been spot on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Spike seems a little bit off, and the other problem too is that like there's so much great voice acting in the original.
Yeah, you lose out on that. Yeah, for sure.
That you kind of it feels lost in some of the characters, except for Jet. Jet's the only one that I feel like he's spot on, but Spike a little bit.
My friend Zach said that he felt like when in the show that Spike is complaining too much and he doesn't come off quite as cool as he does in the anime. I don't know if you guys got that vibe at all, or if you got
The
that
only
vibe.
thing, what really kills the show is the writing.
Fair enough. Yeah. One thing I will to praise is that the visual effects are actually pretty damn good for a Netflix show. Like the spaceships all look really good.
Yeah, it does look great. I think what this show and where it's going to find its niche is the people that aren't fans of anime.
I agree.
Might really enjoy it.
I think you're right,
most
and it
of
may
the
be
people who who basically enjoy the anime aren't gonna like it's the reverse of Dune. Dune was great for people who love Dune and not great for people new to the series. And I think this is opposite. It's gonna be great for new people who don't like anime, but it's gonna be cringy for people who do.
Yeah, that's fair. Hopefully that won't be the case with the One Piece show, but we'll see there.
Oh well.
What are you guys thinking about the Wheel of Time? I've heard some.
So I saw me and my buddy just had a deep dive conversation last night after I watched the first episode. He's read the book.
Yeah.
I've read like the first half of the first book, but they're long.
That's how much I've read. Exactly the first half of the first book.
Yeah, they're really long books. But I like it so far, but I feel like they're truncating a lot, and they've left out a lot of mystery that was so much fun about the book.
All right.
That's kind of my thought. Like they're like explaining everything really. Like here's what's happening. Here's why I'm here. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what we're doing now. Here's what's next. Where in the book it's like, oh shit, what's happening? Who are you? Why are you here? Wait, what's going on? Oh shit, what's happening? So it's kind of I feel like the mystery is lost a little bit, unfortunately. But I like
it doesn't have Robert Jordan's pacing.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
yeah.
That's 100% right. Yeah, the pacing was off. It didn't feel. It felt like they were going so fast. And
I also noticed they changed little things that don't seem to make sense. Like wasn't it 3 rivers, not 2 rivers?
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I have to look it up. I'm not sure about that one. I can't quite remember. But for me, it was like stuff like a Gwen. Minor spoiler for the first episode. Gwen dating Rand. Like, that was weird. That wasn't in the book.
Right.
All right, guys. I actually got to bounce, but
go watch Wheel of Time.
Yeah, go watch what? Wheel of Time. It's on my list. It's on my list.
Good. Okay.
But I will talk to you all later.
All right, dude. Plug your Twitter real quick.
Oh yeah, you can follow me at Kishkumen, KYSHKUMEN, and go check out Wrath at Kickstarter, Wrath Chapter 3. Back it, help us get those stretch goals, get some really cool stuff, and help us make Chapter 4 and get it rolling. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. See you, man. Have a good one.
Later.
So I actually really enjoyed the series. So I watched the first 3 episodes,
Okay.
and as somebody who wasn't up to my eyebrows in the series, I'm enjoying it.
That's what.
I'm
Oh
actually
yeah.
I'm actually noticing some Lord of the Rings parallels
Oh,
and
definitely.
stuff. So I mean I totally got into it. I was completely immersed. I didn't have any issues at all. I gave it 5 out of 5 on my review.
Yeah, I almost feel like I don't want to read the rest of the book because it has just enough differences that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to, know it. But like on its own, I do feel like it is actually a good show. Like I like the actors and the effects are pretty good, and so far, so I'm enjoying it. So I'm in for the ride. I think. So
I
we'll see how
like
it
I
goes.
like that it could go on for like a really long time, being there's like 14 books.
So my thought is they'll probably go for like 7 or 8 seasons, which means they're gonna have to condense and cut out some stuff.
Right?
So hopefully they can do it well. I just hope they don't cut too much.
That depends on how well it does, really.
Yeah, that's true, but they've committed to a second season at the very least already.
Yeah,
And if Henry Cavill's committed to 7 seasons of The Witcher, then hell, anything's possible.
Have you heard about their? Have you heard about the Second Age Lord of the Rings stuff?
Oh hell yeah, I have the most expensive TV show of all damn time.
Yeah, dude, I'm so stoked about that.
Oh my god, I'm so
it could
stoked,
go either way.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
lots of cool stuff happens in the Second Age. I mean,
that's
basically
true.
the
That's
entire setup for the world you see in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit happens in the Second Age.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
There's a
that's
lot of
where
cool stuff there, man.
you get to see the rings created and Morgoth and the rise of the
Rise
Dark
of
Lord
Sauron.
and all the kings that turned into race and all that stuff. I mean, that's all in that Second Age stuff. That's going to be
It's gonna
really
be
cool. The
juicy,
battle with
dude.
the elves.
It's gonna be juicy. Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. I think the first season was filming. Were they filming in New Zealand for the first season?
Uh, that is what I heard, but I it wasn't exactly from a reputable source, so I'm not positive.
I feel like I heard something about the second season filming switching to the UK, but I could be wrong about that.
Either way, but with how much I mean, they were in the middle of what I heard was this. They were in the middle of filming the first season and already signed everybody on for a second season. Like in the middle of filming the first season, not even after they get some reception about how it's going to go. They're so convinced this is going to be awesome. They already signed it for I mean, that just really gets me excited for it. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love when you get the second season announcements like right when the first show comes out. That kind of stuff is exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been watching a lot of good shows lately. I know I don't think Matt's much of a Marvel TV side of things, but Hit Monkey just came out last week. All the episodes for Hit Monkey is on Hulu.
Is that a Marvel?
It's
thing?
a Marvel, not an MCU, but it's by Marvel TV Productions.
Okay.
It's really good. It gives me Archer vibes. It's like Archer but Marvel style a little bit.
I don't
I'll
watch.
have to check that out.
What's that, Matt?
I don't watch anything Marvel anymore.
He's a Marvel hater. You're in the room with two Marvel heads, man. You're in bad company.
I just got burnt out.
I mean, it's fair. I can understand. It's not for everybody. I still like him, but I can understand others.
I mean,
not like
you look at the Eternals. Oh God.
I like that movie, dude. But Shang-Chi was better, in my opinion. Shang-Chi had some of the dopest action scenes I've seen in a long time. Like that Muni.
That bus scene was
yeah,
sick.
it was crazy. I haven't seen anything like that. And then watching the behind the scenes how they filmed it was absolutely nuts. They built a bus on a rig with hydraulics that they could make it turn and do all this stuff so that they could film all the actors in the bus and then throw, a green screen behind them for the actual environment itself. So because that way they could actually film like fighting and stuff as real as possible. And all the Marvel stuff, it looks so good because they combine practical effects. Like people don't realize how much practical sets they build unless you watch the behind the scenes. They built like 2 or 3 story high city. Like they literally built up a city for Loki. in the, you know what I mean? It's like it's crazy the
Wow.
amount of detail and what they can achieve. So like for the spectacle of it, like I'm there for the spectacle. Like I get if you don't like the storytelling, but I still get. I'm a big blockbuster guy, so I love the big spectacle. I love the bombastic stuff that they can do and the way they can make it look. So, you know, for me, I'm still there. But I get it. You know, I get people are burnt out on superheroes movies.
I only had two things about Shang-Chi that I thought were a little weird. They seemed to mix in elements of Iron Fist with the whole hidden city thing. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember that in Shang-Chi.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and then there was that. I felt like there was just so much we were introduced to, and I felt like while I got enough that I could follow what was going on, it happened so there was so much stuff going on throughout the whole movie that I felt like I really only was able to attach myself to a couple of characters in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, but yeah, you know, there's a lot of good movies out. Dune is incredible out right now. Resident Evil, we'll see how Resident Evil goes at the end of the month.
Oh, I noticed that they don't like giving Claire Redfield ponytail.
I noticed that too. I was a little disappointed by that. She would have looked. I think she would have looked better with the ponytail, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents on it. Because one, it looks like the character more, and well, yeah, it just looked like the character more.
but you know,
and I'd also like to add that it looked like the character more.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Oh, man. But yeah, we'll see. I got tickets to go see Resident Evil the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so I will let you all know.
Well, the best thing about Claire is that she's the one who resembles the character the most.
That's true. Leon looks interesting. You know.
I only played like the first 2 or 3 games, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go through them all. Like I've gotten through the first 0, 1, 2, and 3 remakes, and then at some point I need to play 4, but I keep hoping they'll remaster it.
I remember playing the first game. It was the first time I ever jumped in a game. Because there's those long scenes of just nothing but silence,
yeah,
and all of a sudden you're walking by a door and zombies.
That game is scary too. Like the way that they don't give you much ammo and stuff. Those games are, even today, I feel like they really hold up well. Like they're pretty damn scary.
Yeah, that was definitely the first horror kind of game I've ever played.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the fact that Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake before Code Veronica.
That's true. That one probably needs a more remake just because it's a lot older, but it's still like a good story and stuff.
Yeah,
but I feel like they won't do it just because it's not as mainstream.
Resident Evil 4 is more. It still holds up as a game.
Oh, okay, so you don't necessarily feel it needs a remake.
Yeah. It just feels like it's there just because it's recognizable.
You know, a nice bloody gory game I think needs to get remade is Nightmare Creatures. Remember that PlayStation 1 game, Nightmare Creatures? It's just got this. It's just got this girl with a sword basically going around on these different levels, and the levels never seem to end. There's 30 levels or something like that, but she just goes around these levels hacking up these huge monsters, and it gets all bloody and stuff. It was one of the first games where the blood flows out on the floor, and if you walk through it, you actually leave red footprints for several feet when you go. I just thought that was pretty cool.
You're like, oh my god, look at the footprints! Yeah, that's great.
But it would be cool to see that with some modern day effects in it and stuff.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, the remaster train is pretty popular right now. Everybody's hopping aboard, so you know, good time for it.
I'm fairly old school with my games. I still have a PS3. I never got a PS4 or PS5. None of that. I don't do that anyway.
I think my Xbox 360 and PS3 are lost to the ages. I might have sold them or given them away. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've continued moving into the new generations. But it is fun. You can still go back and play some old games, with backwards compatibility. So there's
at least until Sony decides you can't.
Well, yeah, that's Sony. I'm more of a Microsoft. I'm on an Xbox guys these days just because they have way bigger backward compatible library. They do amazing things. Just added 70 new games on the 20th anniversary of Xbox the other day. 70 new old games for backwards compatibility, including like and a bunch of other classic ones.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Backward compatibility is a big issue because you either have to have the old console or you got to buy the new one, and that
like for example, there's no way to play a 007 game on a modern console. There's just no possible way to do that. I've looked into it extensively, and there's just no way to do it.
Yeah, I've only played that on the N64.
Like the classic GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was such a good game. That was like my childhood. It was GoldenEye.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I graduated to GameCube. I got Double Agent, Rogue Agent, whatever it's called, and there's a bunch of From Russia with Love was another good James Bond game. But the Hitman studio has actually been tasked with creating the newest James Bond game. So that's gonna be pretty dope.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you've played Hitman or seen much about those games at all.
I've seen the movie. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's that guy. So yeah, they're gonna take that kind of assassin gameplay where in the game you can kind of disguise yourself as anyone, pick up any weapon, kind of do the assignment any way you want. It's very variable. And so they're gonna take that kind of gameplay and then turn it towards a spy game, make a 007 kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. Last thing on spies. Did you see the new James Bond movie, Michael?
I have not. No, I don't go to theaters, so
it's on streaming now.
Is it?
Yeah, it came out like a week or two ago. I want to say.
Oh, really? Well, I'll have to check that out then. I definitely want to see it. I'm a huge James Bond fan, and I love Roger Craig as James Bond.
Roger Craig?
Roger Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, yeah.
I think you were thinking you were getting crossed with Roger Moore and Daniel Craig.
I was I was
I was like, wait, hold on. Is there another Bond I don't know about? Hold on.
Yeah, they changed it recently. It just happened. You wouldn't have known about it.
Oh no, Daniel. Poor Daniel. Got replaced by someone else.
Well, he hasn't wanted to play James Bond in a while, so.
Yeah, that's true. Like you can't be James Bond forever. And I actually think he had the longest stint as James Bond out of any of the actors. I believe it. Not number wise, but like just in terms of years he was active.
Right. Most people just get the 4 films.
Yeah. That's really okay. I didn't know that actually.
Well, like most of there have been the occasional few, like Connery, did more than 4.
Okay.
But there, most of the iterations of James Bond seem to come in sequences of about 4 movies, and then they move on to somebody else. I think it has a lot to do with the age, the amount of time that passes in the time you do 4 movies. They don't look as young as they did before.
That's true, and he's supposed to be like in the fit of his prime, and can only do that for so long. And those movies take a while to make, and they're usually 3 to 5 years apart from each other. Typically, although they were pretty close together with Craig, but yeah, you don't. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll see what they do next. They kind of, well, I won't say anything. I won't say what happens or not happens in the new movie. Obviously, no spoilers, but it'll be interesting what happens next.
Michael, stop spoiling.
Oh no, I spoiled everything. I hate trailers nowadays. They spoil everything. don't know if you guys
For
feel that way or
sure.
not, but
I actually prefer to know as little about a movie as possible when I go in to watch it. Because if
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, like if somebody tells you it's super awesome, it's never going to live up to that. If you go in and somebody says it is so awesome, you will be blown away. You can't go in there and live up to that. No matter how awesome the movie it is, it will never live up to that in your mind. And that same thing happens with previews and stuff.
I'm so guilty
I
of
want to
that.
go in there. What?
Like I overhype. Like I'll talk to Zach. I'm like, he's like, oh, so you see this new movie or this new show? I'm like, yeah, it was pretty good. Like this happened. Oh my god, it was crazy. This happened. And it was like the best show I've ever seen. Oh shit, am I hyping this too up too much? Oh shit. Oh crap.
Yeah, even Sheldon complained about that on The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, really. And that's bad if he complained about that. So.
Oh no, he seems to complain about everything though.
That's true. Yeah, it's fair. There's that argument could be made there as well.
Well, people apparently like it. He's the only one that got his own spin-off show.
That's true, yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah, they managed to turn that into a spin-off show, which is been on for a while now. So, which is funny too, because if you really think about it, not to get too much in the weeds, but I think he was the one who said he wanted to end the other show and move on, and he's like, but I'll come back for a spin-off. I mean, I didn't say I would come back for a spin-off. I'm just narrating.
I actually read, I saw in this behind the scenes thing on one of the DVDs that it was actually, I can't remember that guy's name that plays Sheldon in Big Bang Theory, but he actually saw that kid that they got to play young Sheldon. They actually saw him on some video, and he actually sent that to Chuck Lorre and was like, hey, do we got a show here? So, I mean, it was in part his idea.
That's interesting. Yeah, that kid got a very nice break. He's pretty set right now, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I really love that show. Actually,
it's pretty funny. Yeah, I've caught some episodes here and there. Yeah, I think it's pretty good there. Not everyone's cup of tea, but nothing ever is it? Right? So can't please everyone.
Right. I feel like the last surviving sitcom survivor, the fan. You know what I mean? Like there's just not a whole lot of sitcom fans out there anymore.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. That is a good point. Yeah. Did you watch? So how did you feel with WandaVision then? Did you like the classic throwbacks and kind of the homages to those kind of things?
I basically forced myself to get through WandaVision until the last couple of episodes, and I was like, "All right, those two are cool."
So you did not like the homages then?
I didn't. It was. I mean, it would have been cool if it was just a little bit, but they just. I mean, it was. They just drove it into the ground until they were making chop suey in China. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Not the most subtle of homages there, I suppose. There,
But, it was just a little bit too much. That's all. I wanted a little bit more of a serious take on it, and just the whole thing being this, it was only those moments where they like snapped out of that 50s Leave It to Beaver thing for a minute that I actually enjoyed the show.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hey, kind of on a side note, but what if about a young James Bond? Is that like a combination of young Sheldon and James Bond? That would be
that would be interesting to see what it was like back when he was an orphan.
Yeah, that would be pretty dope actually. Like I know there's some talks about doing a Fast and the Furious prequel, kind of on the same vein. So who knows? Maybe
how can you do Fast and the Furious prequel without Paul Walker?
Did you see the latest one?
I haven't yet. No.
So there's a flashback scene with young Dom and like Letty and a bunch of other characters. So they have a bunch of like younger actors playing them.
Okay, so it's going to be Dom and the crew back in the day. Okay.
And they're pretty good actually. He did a very convincing Vin Diesel, and like the actors were pretty good actors too. And so I watch it. Guilty pleasure for me there. That's always watch those movies.
I was actually surprised to find out I really like the Fast and the Furious 7. It's not my favorite in the series, but that was a good one. But
That's the one with
I didn't notice
the
until
Burj
a
Khalifa,
couple years
right?
ago. What?
Isn't that the one with the Burj Khalifa? The building that in Dubai that they do the stunt on.
Yeah. No, no. That was the next one.
I thought no, because eight's
No,
one where Paul Walker's gone already.
Yeah, no. Number 7 is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I could have sworn number 7 had the jump with maybe not.
Anyway, I thought it was. I'm a big fan of James
Oh, that's
Wan.
right. Oh yeah, number 7 is the one with Jason Statham in it, huh?
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah, with him in it.
Yeah, he's good. He's so funny.
I really was impressed to find out that James Wan did that.
Yeah, right. I bet because you're a big James Wan fan.
Right. I like that he has more in his arsenal than just horror. You know, he did Aquaman, he did Fast and the Furious.
He's gonna do Aquaman 2, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing Aquaman 2 right now.
Yeah, he's got quite the variety of stuff he's been working on.
And what did you think of Malignant?
I missed Malignant. I unfortunately didn't get to see that one. I have to put on my list though.
It was okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's trying to do. I'm trying to figure out if I can say this without ruining anything. I think that he's, you know how M. Night Shyamalan did the thing with Unbreakable and Split and then Glass, where he kind of built this little universe out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's trying to do something like that with the Malignant movies.
Okay. Or kind of like how the Conjuring ended up becoming that shared universe with Annabelle and stuff.
I mean that. Oh, I want to say this, but I feel like it'll ruin it. I mean, I feel like. How about this? I feel like this is an origin story.
Okay. So
I think that's about as far as I could go into that without spoiling anything.
Aww, Neil star in the chat gonna make me cry over here. That's yeah. I always that movie has a special place in my heart for that reason. That ending it gets me every time, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Fast and the Furious 7 ending.
Oh right. Oh, totally. That whole little scene with Paul in the car and he drives off into the side road and you're like, no,
great, man. Yeah, right. And he drives on and then he goes off the other direction. Yeah, it's man. Tear roll down the face. Oh man. But yeah, I like a lot of those movies. They're all like super ridiculous, but just super fun. Like they all have director's cuts, which is crazy. Like almost every single one of these movies has a director's cut, and which usually adds in more raunchy jokes, extended scenes, usually a little more blood sometimes. But those are fun stuff.
What's your favorite from the series?
Oh, damn.
I mean, the first one is obviously the best, but besides the first one,
I think 5. I have to say 5 is my favorite.
Me
I feel
too.
Like 5 is when they
definitely
open it up. Yeah, like The Rock comes in, it gets global, the stunts get crazier, everything looks cool. Like again, it's like it's something I harp on all the time, but it's that practical effects. They after 4 did not great with all the CGI stuff they did, they're like, we gotta do everything as much as we can practical effects. And so from then on, every movie they've done, they've crashed so many cars, and everything it shows, you can tell like when you're watching it, like these are real crashes. So I just love that detail.
That bit with the safe there at the end was just epic. Tearing up the town and stuff and
dude, that was so
all
good.
those cars.
And then when they go into
She's
the
all, did you guys just take out a bank?
Yeah, that was a great finale scene. So yeah, so many good stunts that they've done. You just gotta, those are, again, there's a level of fun that you just turn your brain off and you go and you're like, I'm gonna see something crazy, and it's gonna be freaking fun. So
totally,
those are great kind of fun movies. Like I enjoy a good art house movie. I enjoy a good movie with a great story, and I also enjoy those big bombastic movies as well for that reason. So I feel like there's something for everybody out there. I just have to like everything.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat too. Well, I mean, I have specific niches that I really like. I really can't be pigeonholed into a specific fandom.
Right, exactly. Me too. I'm just so interested in so many different things that I'm like always just like, okay, what's this? Oh, I want to try this over here. Oh, what's this over here?
Right.
That curiosity, I guess. You know?
I'm just into good entertainment. Whatever version that comes in, I'm down.
Right. Now this is interesting. Neostar, he says he wouldn't mind smaller shared universe movies. Perhaps they tried retroactively connecting films instead of sequel baiting. A little subtlety goes a long way. That's interesting. That is essentially what happened with the what you mentioned with the M. Night Shyamalan trilogy.
Right.
You know, nobody knew that was going to be connected until the end of Split, and people were like,
For sure.
"What? Oh my god!" And so that was done. That was done perfectly and done so right. Like the whole movie goes by, you don't know. Like that's pretty cool. Like another movie would have shoehorned it in like the first 15 minutes. Huh?
Fully. You had no idea watching Unbreakable that they were planning on doing more
No
than
way.
that.
And
And
yeah, they
I-
set it up perfectly. Like when you call, I like whether or not you like Glass or not, or if you think it's good or not, it completes the trilogy well, and it has nice callbacks.
Well,
For
the thing
sure.
about Unbreakable is that it was made before the shared universes became big.
True. Yeah, it was almost like a commentary on comic books and stuff too. So it feels, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. It was the right time, right ideas. Kind of fun fact. There's some scenes in Glass with Glass as a little kid, and those were shot. Those were unused footage. Some of those were unused footage from the that they didn't use in the
Unbreakable?
first film. Yeah, Unbreakable.
Yeah.
That they got to repurpose. Which is,
I
think that's
figured there had to be a little bit more than that because you just got really a taste of him as a kid in that first film.
exactly, yeah. And so it's nice to see that come full circle and stuff. But we could talk about movies forever here. I'm sure.
Right.
There's always another movie like, did you see Old? And did you see?
Right.
But I guess we'll start wrapping up here in maybe another 10 minutes or so. I'll go about an hour and a half. That probably should be good. But what are you guys up to for the rest of the weekend?
I'm planning on doing the same thing I'd mentioned before. I'm really trying to hammer out as much of that Christmas novel as I can this month.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's good dedication, man. Just a little bit of time chipping away at it. You'll get through it.
Yeah, I've managed to write about 2,200 words in the last few weeks.
Okay, so what's your goal? Do you have like how long you want it to be, or are you kind of still figuring that out?
Well, I know that I'm at almost 8,000 words, and it's going to be at least another 3 or 4 times that.
Okay, so maybe like 3 or 4 times. So like we're trying like 25, 30,000 around there.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere around there, maybe even 40.
Nice, man. That's what's up. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good amount. And like you said, you're going for a novel. So I feel like that just about fits that. Maybe a little over, but yeah, pretty good. And so yeah, we'll be checking in with you for updates, I guess, come Christmas time.
Yeah. Maybe we're probably looking at a couple years, but
Definitely. I just
going to
meant
be
to
chipping
updates
away.
in terms of just seeing where you're at and stuff, checking back in with you.
Right.
See, yeah. How progress is going. I know how that process goes. Yeah, it's a grind for sure. That's why I like writing comics so much. For me, the way I write comics is I can just sit down, I can just sit down and write a whole script in an evening. And so it's really nice to be able to have an idea, write the whole thing, and be like, that's done. That feels good, man. So
You can write a whole script in an evening?
yeah, I usually it takes me about 2-3 hours maybe, and I'll just put on some music, like lo-fi beats that just no lyrics, just something playing in the background for hours that will just continuously loop. And I'll just sit down, I'll just start writing and writing and writing, and let the story kind of have my idea, and then let the story take me where it will, and then I'll come back and edit after I've done like my one session, I'll just write it all out, and then the next day I'll
Oh, okay. You're saying you get a first draft done in an evening. Because that's a
Exactly.
whole other thing than writing a comic in an evening. I usually have like a good probably 5 or 6 drafts
Oh
to a
shit.
comic
Oh
before
no,
it.
I don't do that. I just do like
Huh?
first draft. I edit it one time, and then boom, I throw it out the window. I don't think about it again.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it works
no,
for me.
I they say that a work is never done, it's just abandoned, and that's pretty much kind of how I have to do things. I keep going back,
Fair
and I'm
enough.
like, well,
Yeah.
I could tweak this little bit here and this little bit here, and
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, it's like you're ever perfecting it.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a good mentality to have. It definitely, I feel like that can lead to some really great stuff. And I know, like even like it's like kind of like George Lucas. That's the reason he wanted to come back and do more stuff with Star Wars, just because like he's kind of like that same way, where it's hard for him to stop tweaking on the stuff.
He's gotten rather infamous for his little tweaking Star Wars over the decades.
Yeah, really.
Like pretty much, I don't know this because I haven't watched every single version that he's ever put out, but I guess basically every time they put out a new version, a new edition of Star Wars, George Lucas has tweaked it somehow, like changed the color here or added a little extra something here. Or
Neo says, by that logic, I'll have a Riser Man first draft finished by tonight. And that's the spirit, man. I like that attitude.
Yeah.
Go for it, Neo Star.
Exactly. That's right, man. It's fun, man. And the other thing that helps is probably, although the last one I wrote, oh my god, I probably Barrels Issue 4 probably took me like at least 3 to 4 hours to write, because it was a long one. I think it ended up being closer to like 40, 45 pages, which is unusual for me because I tend to write 20 to 24 page comics, or like maybe 22 to 24 pages. I give or take a few pages less or more, but that's what I usually shoot for.
See, I've tried writing. I can get it to about. I think the shortest comic I ever wrote was around 28 or 29 pages.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I tend to use bigger panels, I guess, in my writing, so that the artist has lots of room to show the story, and the letter's got room and stuff. So that adds to my page count, but I just can't write a small comic, really.
That's funny. Now, do you, in your scripting, do you usually write out how many panels are on a page, or do you leave that up to the artist?
Oh, I write it all out, just like
nice.
I'm making a movie. I say what goes on the screen and what's happening and
That's how I
all
do it
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. For me, I feel like it allows a certain level of control over, the pacing and the amount of pages and things like that.
I think there's a good balance actually in the system we're using where me and Steve we're pretty specific about what goes into the panel, but Tosin is often able to take what we write and what he does change is always an improvement upon what we had.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice when you guys got that relationship down. That where you can play off of what you've written and really enhance it.
Right, and it's really necessary too, as he lives in Nigeria. So having that relationship there where we can work so well together is really helpful.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome, man. I'm trying to find that right now. I've been looking for a new artist that may have one. I'm in talks with right now. We'll see. But yeah, it's always good to have a good relationship with your artist. Neostar says, I literally have no structure for paneling. I trust my artist when it comes to panel layout. Yeah, that's another way to do. I know I've heard other people sometimes will just write what's on the page and then leave the panel structures to the artist and stuff. And then for example, back when we were first starting out, me and Matt B with Project R, I would write out the chapter almost like a novel, in a sense, where it's like, here's page 1, and I write a novel, page 1, saying, literally describing it like a novel, like, here's happening up here in very long descriptors. And he would, with a bunch of deep side details about the history and the clothing and all the little things that you might want to know about. And then Matt would read that and then transform that into the art and stuff. So that was kind of an interesting. And he would choose the panels and the layout and stuff. And so that was kind of interesting. That's how I used to do it before I started writing more like a movie.
So really, in that particular setup, while the artist does work in storytelling in the way I do it, it seems like the way that was done there was actually it was more like with the Jack Kirby and Stan Lee thing, where there was a lot more involvement in the artist as far as how the story looked and how it progressed and that kind of stuff.
Totally, yeah. It really allowed Matt to take what I was, writing and then turn into what he was seeing from that. And so, yeah, I do agree. I think it allows for a lot more control for the artist and for them to be able to input stuff that you didn't necessarily see. And so it does have some merits there. It is pretty interesting, and it's almost like it's like I'm giving him a book that no one will ever read, but it's him. It infers and it influences what he creates. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know if we'll do that the next. We'll see what if we do that again for chapter 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could. I'm not sure I could do that. I have a fairly specific vision of the story, having worked on it for like 10 years.
Well, the other thing is that when me and Matt B started, we started as co-creators. So we both created the story over like 6 months or so. And so in that case, he's as much of a storyteller as I am for Project R. I'm just the one who happens to write out the actual dialogue and stuff and how the scenes play out. But story-wise, he was equal with me in creating all the different concepts and characters. So I think that's the difference. Like it wasn't work for hire or something.
Okay,
So
that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, oh definitely. Oh yeah, yeah. For work for hire, you want to have that control. I feel like. But yeah, kind of a good wrapping up point there. Do you guys have any other points on that you wanted to make? Any last thoughts that you might have on that?
No. That about covers what I've said. I would like to mention that people can pick up Guardians of a Lamb, our latest number one, our latest condom, our latest comic on Amazon Kindle. It's only $2.99. It's been getting lots of positive reviews. Check it out.
Very nice, man. Excellent. And yeah, I guess we'll do plugs here. Why don't you tell us where else people can follow you online so they can check out all your stuff, Michael?
Oh, sure. We'll be at Comics Omen, and there's at Revelation Comics. You can also find us at patreon.com/Omen Comics.
No, Alabaster. No, this isn't that kind of show. That's not this kind of show.
Yeah. I fumbled the lips there. Sorry about the comment. Actually, you don't want to say I fumbled your lips when you're talking about comics.
Oh no,
I apologize. I should just stop talking.
Yeah, phrasing. Talk about phrasing. You give Michael Scott a run for his money. Oh man, but well, excellent. Yes, and what about you, Matt? Where can people follow you online?
They can follow me at Matt Trin on Twitter, and you can find the Mythoverse at Mythoverse Comics on YouTube.
Very nice, man. And as for us, you can follow us at Twitter at Wikid Publishing. Obviously, you're watching on YouTube already. Give us a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because that really helps us out. And check out our website at Wikid Publishing. I'm going to go and post a link for the store there if you want to go check out some of the books that we have on offer. Speaking of Omen Comics, we have the first batch of Omen Comics up in digital, soon to be released in print, hopefully within the next couple weeks here or a little longer, depending on how the printer turns out, but hopefully very soon. Go check out all the stuff we have on there, physical, digitals, and more. And yeah, pretty excited to hear more about all the projects you got going on with King Chronicles fulfilling and the new comics that you're working on, Michael, and stuff. So I'll be interested to hear more. And so everyone, please go check out, follow their stuff if you want to see more about that as well. and we will see you on a further episode of the Wikid Weekend podcast. Take care, everyone.
Later, guys.